right, welcome to the show. This is your host, Christopher Gelson with Protect Your Children Incorporated. The first thing you're going to notice is you don't get to see my beautiful face tonight. Yes, sorry about that. I know some of you are going to be very sad that you don't get to see my good-looking mug tonight. But hey, listen, we're going to survive. And in any case, that is on purpose. That is because we have a special guest coming on a little bit later tonight, about 9:15 or so, Lisa Mans with Authentikid. And I wanted to make sure that the focus was on her and her company and the great work that they are doing to keep kids safe. Also, in about, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 minutes from now, we are going to have an interactive video that we're going to play. It's called No Escape Room. Lisa actually sent it to me, and it's powerful. It's about sextortion, and it centers around a 15-year-old boy, and it's actually interactive. So, yeah, we're going to be clicking on the screen here, and kind of one of those things where you can choose what would you do in the situation, and then it tells you the outcome. And, of course, you know, we went through it and picked all the wrong decisions just to see what would happen, and it's pretty powerful. So, especially for kids to be able to watch. We also posted it on our Facebook, on the Facebook group, also on Twitter. And so you can find it there at a later time. So we're going to have a little bit of a different setup tonight. First, I want to tell you that our social medias, all the links to our social medias are on our website, protectyourchildren.org, protectyourchildren.org. That is for Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, our Facebook group, Instagram, all of the good ones. We're all there. And you can find us on our website, protectyourchildren.org. Everybody, please let me know if the sound is okay out there. We are using a bit of a different setup tonight because we're not using camera for myself, but hopefully the sound is good. I see that Tracy's in the chat, Maria's in the chat, Alicia's in the chat. Welcome to all of you and everybody else watching on Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all those good places. We're glad that you are here. All clear. Tracy says, all clear here. Well, that's good. That is good because you just never know with the technology. You know, you never know how it's going to work. So, well, speaking of protectyourchildren.org, I wanted to let you guys know that we have a website, protectyourchildren.org, and it's also protectfrompredators.org. And I want to share that with you right now. There it is on the screen. Protectyourchildren.org. If you haven't been there, go there. Lots of great information. I want to draw your attention to this in-depth protection packet right here, which we'll just click on. This is in English and in Spanish. It is a 12-section in-depth protection packet. Like I've said before, this isn't your mama and papa's one-liners. You know, it's actually in-depth, detailed information that will help keep your kids safe, and it warns them and teaches them about online and community predators. So you can click right there, safely download the PDF in English or Spanish, and you can share that with everybody. Yes, you can share it with everybody. You can share that with everybody and help keep kids safe. We also have merchandise. Yep, I know. Everybody seems to have merchandise, right? Well, here's the truth. We make a couple of bucks off of each one. That money goes right back into the organization. It helps us to fund these live streams, the streaming software, the website, the web hosting, advertising. There are just tons of bills that all of you don't see behind the scenes. And so when we sell these products, it helps us to fund what we're doing here. And it also makes you look good. I mean, look at these great shirts, tote bags, coffee mugs, baseball caps, man. We got everything. Everything's got our logo on it, and our website. You can choose from 6 different logos to have on the products, and they're high quality. These are high quality hoodies, baseball caps, you know, all sorts of great stuff. So definitely check that out on our website, protectyourchildren.org. Also, please subscribe to our monthly protection newsletter. That's going to be coming out this week, usually about the first week of every month. We have a newsletter. It's going to have all sorts of education and awareness in it, some links to our recent videos, live shows, all that good stuff, changes with the organization, upcoming events, all that good stuff, all free, of course. right in your email box. And we will not share your email. You have our word on that. We will not spam you. You get one email a month. You can go to our website, protectyourchildren.org, click right there and subscribe to our monthly protection newsletter. And you will get that in your inbox every month. Every month. Gotta love it. And you can share that with people as well. And finally, if you can donate to help us out, we greatly appreciate that. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit tax deductible organization, and we do need your help in order to grow and in order to reach people and to do the goals that we have set forth, which is to reach kids and parents across the whole country. But we need your help to do that because we are all volunteers here. Right? Nobody's taking a salary. So this isn't about making money and getting rich. We all have our own jobs. We do this volunteer. So if you can help us out, you can make a tax deductible donation on our website, protectyourchildren.org. All right. That's all the housekeeping stuff that we got right there. So let me jump right into let's jump into our hero segment tonight. We're going to get Lisa on about 9:15, 9:20 or so. But until then, we're going to cover some other stuff like we usually do. And this week is no different. Let's bring you our teen heroes. And I said heroes, yes, plural. Teen heroes. Just makes you feel good to see kids helping others, to see kids not being selfish, but being selfless and helping others. And of course, protecting them from the perverts that are out there so that they don't have to go through that trauma and abuse helps them to continue to keep their good heart to help others. And that's why we bring you the hero segments each and every week. So let's check this out. We got a great group of kids here helping others. Let's check it out. We'll be right back.
A lot of students means hitting the beach, of course, going to the mall, or just relaxing, doing a little of nothing. But for one group of local teens, it means working hard to make a difference. News Channel 5's James Wieland shows us how.
Scraping, taping, painting, and serving up food. Not what you would normally consider a summer camp for students, but these Palm Beach and Martin County teens chose to spend their summer break helping the Belglade community.
Our students, they live to give, they want to serve others, and they want to give to something bigger than themselves.
Christ Fellowship's Student Week summer camp program has grown to nearly 800 students that help make a difference in the Belglade community.
Feels like we're actually having an impact on the people. We're not just out here sweating and swatting bugs. We're actually touching their hearts, and that's what we're out here to do in the first place.
I want for y'all, we all know how to know what we are doing, you know? And that's good. Y'all got a bigger heart and care for us.
Gratitude and appreciation on one side, growing character and heart on the other.
I felt like I was a bit self-centered before I started coming to Belglade, but it really shifts my focus from myself onto the people around me. And it makes me, I guess, more compassionate because I care more about the people around me and serving them rather than myself.
The Christ Fellowship group has been coming to Belglade for what they call Student Week for 7 years now and plan to for many more.
You never grow tired of seeing a young person step up and do something that was unexpected or unlikely.
Reporting from Belglade, James Wieland, WPTV News Channel 5.
Well, you got to love it. You got to love it, right? Hey, summertime, it's for having fun. Of course it is. But, taking time to help others and to make a difference in people's lives. They might be painting and scraping and sweeping, and maybe they're building stuff. Maybe they're cleaning out somebody's house. But, the heart gets touched more than the physical, right? When kids do this, it changes lives. And as that lady said, she wouldn't know what to do if it wasn't for those kids coming out and helping out. And it's just a great feeling. It's better than any drug. When you help to change someone's life and they know that you love them and you don't even know them, but you're there to help them anyway, it's a great feeling. It makes a huge impact. And we love kids that are just selfless and they're out there just making a difference in the world. And that's what it's all about. And honestly, adults could do that too, right? But we like to highlight the kids. And we're just happy to bring that to you each and every week. So that is our hero segment for this week. I want to share an article with you really quick, which is just unbelievable. I'm telling you. I don't know how many of y'all saw this. This is unbelievable. All right. Look at this. Parents warned after hidden camera in girl's bedroom leads to a man's possession of 294 graphic images. A simple cell phone plug was allegedly used to take hundreds of pornographic images in Michigan. A cell phone plug. Imagine that. Michigan authorities issued a stark warning after discovering a hidden camera in a girl's bedroom that led police to a man who allegedly held 294 images on his cell phone. Genesee County Sheriff Christopher Swanson announced the alarming discovery in a press conference after the arrest of a 30-year-old Nicholas Lee. Wow. And the case began last fall. It started out with this, Swanson said, picking up the small phone charger, just a phone charger, this simple cell phone plug-in that was plugged into an underage girl's bedroom, but it's actually a camera. Look at this thing, tiny, looks like a regular cell phone charger. Now, and as he says here, if you saw this plugged in, you would not realize that it's a camera. This is where innocence has been stolen. This is where privacy has been victimized. Now, of course, you have to ask yourself, how did it get into the girl's room? Right? That's a question. That tells me that there's a predator nearby, because it's not like this girl bought this in the store and it had a built-in camera in it already. No, somebody made sure she got this. Somebody had to plug it into that wall or just give her a free one and didn't realize it had a camera built into it. But these things they make today, they're Bluetooth, wireless, right? They plug it into the wall and they can turn the camera on and off. Any predator can, from just using their cell phone. Now, great. Now we're paranoid, right? Now you're checking your cell phone chargers, right? Now you're checking stuff. But we've seen this. The technology has gotten out of control where cameras can be very, very tiny. And we've even seen where cameras are in smoke detectors, right? They're fixed to the ceiling, looking like a smoke detector, but it's got a camera in it instead. I mean, it's outrageous. So the two questions are, one, where did the girl get it from? Because, it looks like the police got the guy, but it's just like somebody had to give that to her. But it just goes to show you the depths of the perversion of the people that are out there. They will go to any length, right? So this guy can get his kicks off of looking at this young girl. It's absolutely sick. It's perverse and it's evil. And that girl's photos and videos are now going to be all over the internet, being traded with predators. It's absolutely outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. And now is the idea to go check all your devices? Well, and I guess you probably could do that. But the point is this is how dark it is with some of these people. They're absolutely sick and they're insane. It's outrageous. Marie T says, I use both of those as security in my home. Hey, wait a minute now. But yeah, these predators can get it online super easy, super quick. And this poor girl here, man, I tell you what, it's just very, very sad. It is absolutely sad that she even has to deal with this. I mean, can you believe this? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Let's move on here. What are we going to do? All right. Let's jump into, I'm thinking I want to give the most time to Lisa as possible. So let's go ahead and go into the no escape room. Now, I have never done this before. This is an interactive video. It has sound. I'm hoping you can hear me over it. But let's check this out. This is about 7 minutes. Lisa, thanks for hanging with us for a few minutes. Wanted to show this to everybody. Let's see if we can play this out. And if you have kids, I would grab them right now just to get them to watch this 6 or 7 minutes here, especially teenagers, because this is what happens in real life. This is something called sextortion. And it starts off with a simple photo or a simple video being sent to somebody, even someone that kids think is their age. And that's all it takes. And Snapchat, listen, just because it says it deletes, you can delete the photo after it's viewed doesn't mean it's gone. And kids and predators will use other phones to take a picture of it as soon as they open it. And then they have it. They can screenshot it. They can do all sorts of stuff. It's a very dangerous thing to share pictures online. But let's check this out. And let's see if this is going to work here. All right. All right. Let's click play here and see what happens. Well, here we go. Doesn't seem like it wants to play.
Res me real quick. Res me.
There we go.
Come on, just hurry up. Res me. They're like 10 seconds away. Come on. Follow damage. Okay. 20 again. One pump. I got a teammate. 40. Broke a shield. Hit him. Once. 1 second.
All right. What do we do? Let's accept the friend request. Teens don't always know they shouldn't trust people they meet online. Looks like it's not streaming very well. It's not streaming very well. Do we answer the question? Where do you go to school? Let's answer the question.
Hey, Mark, we're waiting.
Like, I want to show you the handshake. Dorsey and the west. The west.
gonna try out for the team this year?
Yeah, probably.
You better.
Apologize that it keeps buffering.
Dinner be ready in an hour.
All right. Do we send the nude? Let's see what happens if he does. 1 in 5 teens say they've shared a nude image or sext, they call it, making a fairly common practice.
Okay, first, and then start pushing. Okay.
How'd she do today?
She did good. Yeah.
Proud of you.
Just gonna go.
Mark, you barely touched your food.
Hold you. Hold you. What do you want?
Well, what do we do? Gotta send the money, I guess. Now what's gonna happen? It's all gonna go away, right? Teens will often empty their savings accounts from summer jobs or ask friends to borrow money. Bring out the credit card. and it's too late. See, and that's how quick it can happen. Starts off with one little image, right? The person turns out not to really be someone you thought. Turns out not to be someone your age. They used a fake profile picture, fake videos off of someone else's profile. And then all of a sudden, no amount of money is enough. And that picture is going to be all over everywhere. Social media, the internet, your friends, at school, everywhere. That's how scary it is. From one picture. Do apologize. It seemed to be buffering. It was stopping every couple of seconds for some reason, but you can definitely check out the link. It's on our social media pages, and definitely show it to your kids, because it's a very real thing. Kids have unalived themselves because of sextortion, that exact situation. We don't know what happened to that teenager, but his life was never the same after that, from one decision. So, yeah, pretty scary. All right, let's bring Lisa on here. Lisa, can you hear me?
Hi there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
all
I can
right?
hear you.
Awesome. Good. Glad to have you here. And
Thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I got to apologize because I've seen some of your posts. I mean, I've seen stuff over, it's been a few months now, but I really had the time to stop and kind of look into what you were doing. So I'm glad we finally got connected, and you're doing a lot of great work, and I'm glad to have you on. And
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
it's definitely a mutually admiration society going on over here. We love what you guys do too.
Yeah,
so
no, it's awesome.
Being able to work together is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And it's part of our mission too, to work with other organizations that are looking to protect kids. I mean, we're not trying to hey, we've got to be the number one organization that's doing it all, right? I mean, we're just us, but everybody together, in their parts of the world and on their social medias can reach a whole lot more than just one organization can. So with your
absolutely, and I firmly believe that as a collective, we're going to do more. If we do smaller things as individuals, collectively we can do a lot more, a lot more good.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt. And that's what it's really about. And that's kind of the hardest part about this is number one, getting parents to wake up and realize that things have gotten out of control. We talked a little bit on the phone yesterday about this. The trains left the tracks, and our kids are swept right up into all of this. And if parents and as we'll talk about, corporations and other, even the politicians, which we won't hold our breath on that, if everybody doesn't come together to stop this, we're going to lose a whole generation of kids. And many of them are being abused. Many are being kidnapped. They're being preyed upon by predators. And it really starts off at home, right? I mean, it really starts off with some basic rules at home, and
right.
That's where it all begins. And a lot of parents just don't think it's that bad. Well, my kid will never do this. We hear that all the time. My kid will never do that. They're too smart. And we say, we wish that was the case, right? We wish that was the case, because then there'd be no kids being kidnapped or abused, right? But unfortunately, kids do make decisions that they regret because they are kids. And it's up to the parents to be able to catch that when it happens and be there to help them when it does.
There are just a couple of statistics that I've talked about that I want people to leave with tonight. 16,000. That's the amount of videos that are uploaded to TikTok every single minute. 30,000. That's how many hours of content are uploaded to YouTube every day. 30,000 hours. Okay, that is insane amounts of content that AI can't even keep up with. We have to do better, and we can't ask corporations to raise our kids.
Right.
We're not raising children. We are raising young adults. And that's one of the most important things that we can tell people. 252,000 websites, brand new websites came up today, and 252,000 come up every single day. We can't rely on corporations to solely by themselves manage to catch all the content, catch all of the kids, because let's be honest, Chris, you and I talked about the fact that we're Gen Xers, so we're really honest and we're pretty blunt about things.
Absolutely.
We lied as kids. We had to step out of being adults for a second and think like a kid. We lied as kids to hang out with the older kids, to do the cool things, to do, and when you take that for just a second and realize that the law that is in place, COPPA, C-O-P-P-A, it stands for Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act.
Yep.
As a parent, and even some educators, when you hear that, you think, oh, privacy and protection, it's going to keep my kids safe on the internet. No, it's about data and age gating, how old the end user has to be before the company is allowed to collect data. So it has nothing to do with keeping our kids safe, in essence, right?
Right.
So when you realize that the law is about the data and not really about our kids, there are a lot of different entities you have to get involved. In my opinion, it's going to take a huge community, people coming together, schools, parents, corporate, executive suite leaders, councilmen, Congress. It's going to take all of us working together to make to create an environment that is much safer than it is now. And the key to it is being able to give the tools to the corporation, right?
Right.
To actually do their job. Right now, all kids have to do is some simple math that we knew how to do in first or second grade, right? To figure out what's the difference between my age right now and me being at least 13. But am I really just going to say I'm 13, or am I going to say I'm like 18?
That's what they're going to do. Yep.
What, go big or go home, right? Because if I'm going to hang out online, I want people to think I'm cool, and I want people to think that I'm older. And you can't really and truthfully hold platforms accountable until they have a tool in place that actually does that. And the other thing we have to remember is it's not just strange adults that are creating predatory behavior, that are preying on our most vulnerable. It is also other kids.
Yes.
Kids who have been through ACEs. You and I talked about ACEs. ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Events.
Right.
Everyone has ACEs, but the more ACEs you have in your life, the more likely you are to get yourself into serious trouble. So, and ACEs are traumatic events. It could be anything from, being a young child and your parent having cancer, even though they survived, it was a traumatic experience.
Right.
To, being involved in a predatory event, like my child Lyric was. Lyric, I kind of laugh. There's probably some parents on here who remember the movie 10 Things I Hate About You. One of my favorite parts of that movie is the dad, who is the OBGYN, and when his daughters talk about dating, he makes them put on the big belly suit and walk around the house,
Right.
so that they realize, dating, what dating can get you. It's not dating, Dad, but they have this ongoing relationship. My kids kind of act that way when it comes to data and online and having friends. We've created an environment because we were socially isolated for 2020 and a lot of 2021, where kids are absolutely are attached to electronics and technology. A lot of their kids, a lot of their social time is spent there. So we have to create tools that allow them to grow, right? And give them, because again, we're raising young adults. So we want to help them grow their independence as they show responsibility, right? And good digital citizenship. There's a lot that's involved in the putting the puzzle together of doing that. And in my opinion, obviously, the Authentikid and the Authentilock are going to make a world of difference in making that happen.
Yeah, and you made a couple of good points, and one is that like the average age of a predator is about 14 right now. So when everybody's looking for adults only, they think just because their child is hanging around, there's parents that have their 9-year-old kids, 8-year-old kids, 7-year-old kids hanging out with 14 and 15-year-olds. Right now, I don't know, but back when I was a kid, that was not even something you wanted to do, but we wanted to do it, but we weren't allowed to, right? So we kind of had to sneak it. But the parents were like, no, you're not. Why are you going to hang out with a high schooler for? Why would a high schooler want to hang out with a 9-year-old? Like there's
Right.
obviously these warning signs. And so the teen predators, and as you said, when they have these events in their life, especially if they're not dealt with psychology wise, emotion wise, spiritually wise, right? Then, as we know, the saying is hurt people, right? And so
Right.
the kids end up, falling into traps of abuse and repeating abuse and things that happen because they don't feel like they have anybody to come talk to about it, right? So they keep it all stuffed inside for years and years and years, and it does all that damage, and then they start acting out. And we've seen that with a lot of teen predators. The majority of them have been abused themselves, right? And so it's a perpetual cycle that just it doesn't get broken unless there are trusting people that a child can talk to without being judged, without having the fear of getting in trouble, right? To be able to say, hey, this kind of happened and I don't know what to do about it,
Right. And as a mom of 6 and a grandmother of 8, I've spent the last 30 years being a parent and longer being an early childhood educator as a preschool teacher and an assistant director, a director, and then a regional manager. There are probably close to 300 kids that call me mom.
Wow.
I've stayed in touch with kids that started in kindergarten and stayed with me. Aged out. That's the other thing too.
Like the cool
Most
mom,
states.
right?
Sorry.
You're like the cool mom that they all want to hang around, right?
Kind of. I'm cool, but not that cool. Like,
right.
I love Star Wars. I'm kind of a nerd. You can talk to me about anything. I'm open to debate, whatever. Don't get me started on politics. Because I love talking about politics with young kids because they're still so green.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to play devil's advocate. But, having this large amount of experience, it's amazing what I've learned and how my mission in life has become doing exactly this, keeping kids safer on and offline. You talk about prey becoming predators. It's, the bullied becoming bullies.
Yeah.
I have a child who failed the 5th grade because he was so horribly bullied. He was in his school, and again, I'm trying to anonymize my kids a little bit, but in his school system at the time, they had elementary school that went to 4th grade. Then they separated 5th and 6th grade, which I do kind of like, because if you think about it, sex ed starts in 5th grade.
Right.
A lot of hormonal changes start to occur in 5th grade. And then they had middle school, which was 7th and 8th grade, and then high school. And I liked those separations. The problem is when you have those separations, you don't always have the staffing, or at least that's the excuse that the school system will use on occasion. And because the gender of teachers is so there's a huge gap and inequity there.
Yeah.
When they would take the kids on bathroom breaks, and there would be a woman in the girls' bathroom to oversee that the girls didn't mess around.
Right.
But in the boys' bathroom, it was a free-for-all. And there would literally be 3 boys that would grab my child by the shirt and shake him until, when he was standing at a urinal, until he urinated on himself.
Dang. Wow.
That's humiliating.
Yeah.
And
It's
when
traumatizing.
I
It
went
really
in
is
and
traumatizing.
I'm a mama bear. We talked about this yesterday. When I went into school and said, what is going on, and what are you going to do about it? They said, well, there's not a whole lot we can do. Nick's just, sorry. Your son is going to have to just, figure it out. And that was not okay. That was not okay.
No.
When that happened, he changed. And he kind of became a bully for the rest of the school year. He wasn't going to get pushed around.
Right.
He doesn't let people walk all over him. But he ended up failing because he was so badly bullied.
Wow.
And I was really worried about him for a long time. Today, he's an adult. He has 2 children. He's married, owns a house, has a very nice corporate job. I'm very proud of him. But
awesome.
It's frightening at that pivotal time in their lives when they do get bullied, because when ACEs happen during that time, it seems almost as if they're 10 times bigger, and when you look at them in the rearview mirror as an adult, they're still big, especially at that time.
Right. Yeah. Well, we talked about yesterday how, I'm trying to remember how you phrased it, but you gave 3 terms, right? There's, somebody that's a victim, right? And how did you say there was a victim?
Survivorship, and thrivership.
Thrivership. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the difference, because that's the other big part of what we got going on with predators. The stats are like 1 in 5. It's probably higher than that. It's probably more like 1 in 10. Of kids actually will disclose abuse. You know what I mean? And the rest of them don't even disclose it for like a period of 3 to 5 years. And if you think about the damage that is done in that child's brain in that 3 to 5 year period, they've kept that secret. They've had to deal with, false guilt and shame and everything else, the lies that they've been told, the threats and all of that. I mean, how do you carry that around as a child? And a lot of times they won't talk about it because, they've been convinced that it's their fault, or that,
right,
mom's going to get killed, or the dog's
bury it,
or something.
stuff it down. I mean,
right. And it's not their fault. You know what I mean? But kids think that they should have said no. They think that they should have stopped it. They think that, and it's like all that to a parent, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters now is that you talk to me and tell me what's happened, so that we can get you the help that we need, so that we, that you can be protected. Right. And this doesn't happen anymore. You have to move forward. And people that, don't disclose abuse, and there's adults that are living with abuse. They're 50 years old and they've been stuffing it their whole life. And they got high blood pressure, and they've got this, and they're just miserable. And when they finally break down, they're like, yeah, when I was 9 years old, my neighbor did something to me. And you're like, what? You're 50 now. Right. You're talking about when you were 9, but because they hid it for all that time. Right. And the damage that does.
Tracy's talking about her son being bullied in the 5th grade. And because I'm looking at the comments, and it was all good until he fought back. And then detentions were handed out. And
Yeah.
Parents were called. When I went in about Nick, which I was going to try to keep him, he's all right. When I went in about my son, they told me they didn't believe me. They didn't believe Nick. It was it took me right back to the 80s, to be honest.
Yeah.
When I watched a young girl on my school bus. There was a boy who attempted to rape her in the back seat of my school bus.
Yeah.
And it took me everything to get her to talk and to tell her mother, to tell. And this kid, by the way, was a 14-year-old. My elementary school went to 6th grade. We lived in an affluent school neighborhood, 45 minutes northwest of Chicago. The local Catholic school rented out space on our public school buses to transport their kids back and forth to their school. So this was a 14-year-old, an 8th grader boy
8th grade
from the
8th
Catholic
grade.
school
Wow.
who did this. And my parents begged me not to go and say anything because then I would be considered a snitch. Then I'd be a tattletale.
Snitches get stitches, right?
Oh yeah, snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
And they sure do. I was considered a snitch until I graduated high school after that. And okay, cool. I wasn't a snitch. I was protecting my friend.
Right. Exactly.
And when my friend and she went in to the principal's office, principal said she shouldn't be wearing that skirt. It's too short. And it was below her fingertips. Maybe she shouldn't be wearing makeup, at 12 years old.
No, it's her fault.
Girls tend to try and start experimenting with those things. Maybe she should have, a sweater on versus a t-shirt. Like, it was just stupid. Okay. She wasn't inappropriately dressed. She didn't ask for any of this. And back then, that was par for the course.
Right.
Those kids are now grown up. That's us. That's us. And it's time for us to start listening to victims. It's time for us to start listening to kids and say, you know what? I can empathize with you. I hear what you're saying. It's important for kids to know that they have a voice.
Right.
And that they are heard. The alarming rate of children 11 to 17 that are unaliving themselves it's unspeakable. I know up until 2017, the rate had gone up 300%. That is long before we had the pandemic and more kids online than there were before. That's why I started doing Authentikid. I don't want to go past an important story because there's a couple. I mean, that's why I'm on tonight, really, beyond talking about my company and keeping kids safer using the Authentilock and the Authentikid. My youngest child and I have been doing research and working together for the last year on a book called Digital Diaries, the stories of young internet explorers. And it goes through a lot of, not all of, but a lot of the experiences my kids have had online since they first started. And my youngest, who we will call Lyric.
Hi.
Hi, Lyric.
She was followed by a predator locally. we had words. My child and I had words, and they wanted to go for a walk, and I was like, okay, you know, you go let off some steam. I'm gonna let off some steam. I figured they were just going out to the parking lot of our apartment complex, and they walked down by where I work on a regular basis, my 9-to-5 job, and they were approached. And I'm going to let Lyric tell the rest of the story.
Great.
I'm kind of nervous.
You can be nervous. It's okay. Do you remember that night? Was it dark outside when you went outside?
No, it was like
7.
I think it was 4.
No, it wasn't that early. You weren't gone that long.
No, when we had the.
Oh,
thing.
yeah. When we had the argument with 4.
Yeah,
4.
and then so I started going on that walk at like 6, and I came back at 8. I went from my mom's work to these abandoned houses with like a stranger.
Well, let's back that up for a second, because you didn't just willingly
I
go
know.
with a stranger.
I know.
So you were walking over by my work, and you were approached, right?
I was.
Was that when he came up and gave you the sack?
Hold on. I'm trying to remember it because it was like months ago.
It was a year ago,
A
actually.
year ago
Mhm.
already?
Yep.
Time flies.
Time flies.
I had walked further than I usually do because I
Mhm.
just usually walk around to
The complex.
end of the thing and then back around.
Yep.
And this is why curiosity kills people.
It's true. You're not wrong. So the guy walked up to you, right? Okay.
I saw him drove by while I was walking. I had passed like many things that I usually see when I walk around the whole thing. And I was in this parking lot, and he parked in a spot, and he had walked up to me saying, "Do you want these donuts?" I feel nervous when you're looking at me.
Okay. I won't look at you.
And he like grabbed them out of their trunk and asked me if I wanted the donuts. And so I said, sure. Of course I didn't eat them because, like, you know, that'd be quite stupid.
Yeah, who knows what was in them?
Yeah.
Yeah, good move.
And so I continued walking, but then he stopped me and asked if he could walk with me. And so I was like, sure. Because, like, I thought maybe he was just going to walk or something. And, but he instead made, like, a conversation with me, asking, like, which part where I lived, how old was I, like, all personal questions.
Were you comfortable at that point?
Of course not. I was asked, like, very personal questions. He asked me my name, and I'm really happy that my appearance has changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
So then if he were to see me again, I really hope he wouldn't recognize me. So we talked. I didn't really give him exactly where I was. I just said, like, a random area.
Smart.
And, yeah. I gave him a fake nickname. And when we approached these buildings that I was talking about earlier, he said, oh, let me go check those out. Then when he was halfway down, he waved at me, and I got a sudden gut feeling. That was at the point I started running back because something was telling me something would happen at those houses, like around the corner or even in them.
Yes.
There were about like 3 houses, and he was going towards this specific one, and it didn't look safe at all. It had like moss and dirt and all of that. It was most definitely abandoned.
Like a horror movie, right?
Yeah, exactly like a horror movie. And honestly, when I think about it, I watched many horror movies, and that was quite stupid of me. I should have just declined kindly and just kept going.
But you were running away from him when you listened to your gut instinct, and then what happened? Didn't he go back to his car?
So I was running back. He apparently somehow caught up to me while walking, and that freaked me out even more. By then I was having a panic attack, and so I was trying to breathe and stuff. And so I took a break. I looked at his license plate. I looked at him up and down, got every single thing.
So he caught up with you on foot, or he caught up with you with the car?
On foot.
So you ran back to it where his car was near?
I was running past.
Okay.
And
is that when he got in his car?
Yeah, that's when he got in his car. Then he blocked my way when he was driving out of the parking lot and asked if I wanted a ride. Of course I said no. And when he drove away, he did have a furious facial expression, and that made me panic even more. So I started walking back home, but then when I realized he was following me, I went to the store that is by our house, threw away the donuts, and I went into the store, and
you were too nervous to talk to anybody?
Yeah, I was too nervous to talk to anybody. So I waited in the store, act like I was shopping.
I'm sorry, that is very you.
That's smart though. You know,
very.
Get around where there's people, you know.
Very.
Yeah.
Larry, how old were you when this happened? This was a year ago?
11. It was right before your birthday.
Oh my gosh, that's even scarier. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hold on, I'm lost in thought. Oh yeah, when I walked out,
you went into the store.
He was right in front of the store.
Oh, we'll get to all of that.
Yeah.
You will be really impressed. I was so impressed with how much she remembered. The detail is crazy. Go ahead.
Right, when I walked out, I saw his car parked right, well, not parked, but it was driving by, and so I hid behind one of the pillars, and I walked around my home so I could make sure, like, I went to a gas station, I went to, like,
we live in an
apartment.
Let me explain this to you. We live in an apartment complex where there's a gas station to the right of our complex and a strip mall with a grocery store and lots of shops and medical facilities right next to it. So you can have a better visual of where she walked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and why did you choose, this is pivotal to me in her decision making. Why did you choose not to come back to the apartment complex directly?
One, because I knew he was following me, and if I walked to there directly, he would have not only my location, but my friend's location.
Because there's how many kids that live here? Probably 20?
Before the new people came, there were about like 4 other friends.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so brilliant though. That's survival instinct, because if you had gone back to the complex, he would have known not only where you lived, but he would have been around other kids, and who knows where that would have led. But he had no idea where you lived, which was so smart, and that is just awesome. That is so good that you did that. You know, I mean, that's something that other kids can learn from. And I hope I don't know if your friends know about this, but I'll tell you, it's not exactly what you talk about when you're hanging out.
They didn't, but they might now.
They might now.
I mean, it's your friends need to know about this, like how dangerous it is. Maybe you don't have to talk about your personal experience, but you can just say, hey, I know somebody who had this happen, because it can happen to any of them. Right?
Yeah.
I promise you, I was definitely a parent that said, that'll never happen to me, or that'll never happen to my kid. My kids are too smart. My kids are too fast. My kids are too social. My kids are too, and I promise you, I've experienced almost everything. I tell my kids and my grandkids, look, there's nothing you can't shock me with. I've been shocked by everything. I've seen everything. Poor Lyric, she's the last of 6. So I'm like, all of your older siblings kind of ruined any shock value you might be looking for. So we might as well just get it out in the open and be honest with each other.
Well, and look what happens when you do, because not only is it healing, it's healing to talk about it, because you don't have to hide it, but now a whole lot of other people are going to hear this and they're going to go, wait a minute, I need to talk to my kids about this, because this happened to Lyric. This could happen to my child. So now you've taken a situation that was scary, that was horrifying, that was creepy to the extreme, and you've turned it into a situation where other kids are going to be safer now. And that's victorious right there. That's beautiful, right? That's the difference between, like, I'm not going to tell anybody about this, I'm just going to keep this hidden inside. And
hero.
And being a hero kid, really. I mean, that's a hero kid right there. What you did, and leading that person on a wild goose chase, they had no idea where to go. That's a hero right there. That you did a great job. And
absolutely,
kids need to learn from that.
So when you came home,
I'm not done yet.
Oh, we're not done yet. Go ahead.
All right. So I went to the gas station first, and then when I snuck behind our building to this storage unit, what is that behind us?
Yeah, it's a storage unit.
All right. I went in the front of the storage unit, and I saw him drive into the parking lot of the gas station. And while I was running to the storage unit, I saw him drive by the storage unit and see me climbing, or like running to like behind these boxes. And so when he was gone, I climbed over the wall and then literally ran to our house.
Wow.
Please understand that this is probably a 1 mile square that she ran through with all of these things. When she walked in that door, I looked at her, and she literally got out, I was fall, before she collapsed on top of me and hugged me like none of my kids have ever hugged me before.
I kind of want to cry.
And I had 911 on my phone before she finished the word followed.
Wow.
They spent 4 hours asking her questions, going to the different stores. They walked with her through the pattern of where she went.
Right.
She remembered. Do you want me to tell them everything you remembered, or do you want to tell them?
I remembered his license plate, his car,
make and model of the car,
wearing, his appearance, every single thing you could get.
Height.
His height.
She nailed it. And so when she had the license plate, the only thing that she had flipped was, she said it was an S or a Z, and had it reversed.
An S, but it was a Z.
Oh,
they pulled him up on the police computer right then and there and asked her, "Is this the guy?" And they had him.
Wow. Larry, did you ever think about becoming a detective or a police officer?
Never once in my life.
No. I'll tell you what, you capture a lot. I mean, how many kids would not be thinking in that direction? I mean, like you were able to identify the car. You pretty much had the license plate. I mean, you remembered everywhere you went. Man, you know how many kids you saved from that guy? I mean, that's incredible. Like, normally people would just run away and they wouldn't even think to look at that stuff. But I think maybe mom has taught you well.
I just want to flex real quick. It's because I got her genes. The IQ of 141.
Thanks, kid. I appreciate that, but no, I think I would have frozen. You think about what would I have done in that situation, and I just can't even. I can't fathom what I would have done. Honestly, in my sad joking way, if I were 11 years old, I probably would have taken the donuts and ate them. I was a fat kid.
Right.
I would have. I grew up very sheltered, and yeah, I've had bigger conversations with my kids than my parents did. It was a different generation,
Well,
a different time.
And something to remember too is predators online, and the majority of them are online now. That's where they're at. They're all over TikTok, Snapchat. They're all over social media. There's just tons of them. We come across them almost every day. And the thing is that they're good at confusing kids, right? So we're grown up to think that if somebody gives you something, that's nice, right? They're giving. Oh, that's nice. Oh, thank you. So it's like, but that giving can also be a way to trap you into thinking that you can trust somebody, right?
Absolutely.
Getting compliments is a nice thing. If somebody wants to compliment you and say, hey, you're great at soccer, you're great at what you do. Oh, thank you. Predators will use those compliments to build the trust to be able to try to abuse.
Absolutely.
Right? So
75% of kids between the ages of 5 and 17 will give out personally identifiable information. So when you hear me say PII, they will give out personally identifiable information just for the mere promise of goods or services. So in other words, when a predator's online and they say, hey, I want to send you a present, or hey, if you'll pay for the shipping, I'll send you this collectible Pokemon card. I don't know, but along those lines. So the kids go and get mom and dad's credit card. It's only $6. I can pay them that in cash. I made it over the weekend.
Right there. None of us would pay for it. I'm telling you right then and there.
Okay.
None of us would pay for it.
Okay, that's fine. I understand that you would not pay for it, but you would be willing, or not necessarily you. Let me say generalized, because
you're smart for that.
But generalized, kids will give out their name, their address, their phone number, their email address, and wait by the mailbox, because we all waited by the mailbox for postcards. We're old.
Right.
They'll wait for all kinds of
now they wait for
Amazon wish list. Send me the link to your Amazon wish list. I'll send you something. That when you send that link to that Amazon wish list, your home address and your name is on there.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we've done experiments with this, and kids will say, well, I'm just giving out my email address. That's no big deal, right? And there are programs out there where you can put an email address in, and it'll go right back to who created it and the IP address, which is the geolocation of where it was created. So just an email address. Phone number, we can plug somebody's phone number into the background check services that we have, and I can tell you everything about anybody who's got that phone number. And you say, well, it's a minor. The minor's information won't be on there. That's true, right? But who got the phone for the minor? The parent. Right. So now we know the parent's first and last name. Therefore, we know the address. We know where the child lives.
That's right.
I mean, it's that easy.
Right.
So just a little bit of information. Now, keeping in mind that the numbers are like 3% of all kids will be abducted by a stranger. Now, that doesn't mean you let your guard down. It is a lower number. It's more common with somebody that a child already knows. But now with the rise of social media, it's like compliments, grooming, that's that whole grooming thing, right? And we see it all the time on Instagram, especially, where there's all these young kids on there and they're doing these dances and they're doing stuff. And all these predators are commenting, and they're clear that they're predators. And the first thing you're thinking is, where's the parents? Do they even know what this kid's doing? And sometimes they'll come on late at night. There'll be a 12 or 13-year-old kid that'll pop on at 11 o'clock at night going live. And they're looking over their shoulder because they're not supposed to be streaming live in their room, but they're sneaking it because they just want people to like them, right?
Absolutely.
And that goes to the other heart of the issue, right? And Lisa, to get back to what you were saying, we got about 10 minutes left here in the show, but
wow.
And I definitely want to get into Authentikid, but it's a whole smorgasbord, if you will, of things that need to get done, right? It's parenting, it's communication with your kids, it's teaching them about how valuable and how important they are, no matter what they've done or what's happened to them, that nobody can remove that value and that worth that they have, right? It's about them knowing that, you know, that maybe mom and dad haven't been perfect, but that does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that they're not loved, right? And that they won't be there for you. It's all of that stuff. And then you look at the social media stuff, because if kids are getting, you know, quote unquote high off of how many likes and followers they get, right? I mean, a lot of them are complete strangers, right? If that's what's making them feel good and getting them through their day, then there's something wrong there, right? Because that's nice to have. I mean, we love to see we had 100 people on a live show. Great. Now, of course, our goal is that means 100 people got educated, right? But we don't walk away going, hey, now I feel good about myself, you know, because,
it's not even just that though, Chris. It goes deeper, because when you're online and you like and you share and you do all those things, it creates data, which then creates an algorithm.
Yep.
And it gives kids and adults, it gives people, let's just say people, it gives people the false sense that the platform, the influencer, knows you, the audience member, better than your own family. It's statistically proven that kids believe right now, this younger generation, that influencers know them better. Know them.
Right.
Hear that. Let me say it again. Know them better than their family. It's because the algorithms are telling them that.
Yep.
Because the algorithms, when we as content creators go online and look at all of our information, like who came, you know, how can I do this better? The influencers looks at that information and goes, okay, let me tailor my content a little bit and see if I can get more.
Right.
And then they're showing up more because, oh, they're into the same things I'm into. They understand me. No, it's an algorithm feeding them that information.
Yeah.
We have to teach our kids that lesson.
Well, there is a legitimate side to that too, because when you look at how many kids can't communicate with their parents. So it's funny because these influencers, they know what to say, right? Predators know what to say. And when they start saying, hey, is your mom home right now? Oh, my parents are separated. Now they know that means that there's been an adverse event in their life. That means that they're missing one of those parents, and then they're going to start playing on those emotions, right?
Absolutely.
So sometimes the kids really feel like that singer out there, or that R&B artist, or that influencer understands them because they're speaking for what they feel inside, because they haven't been able to communicate that with a parent. So sometimes
predators are going through a similar situation. So those predators look for that, and they sit and wait. There are 500,000 predators right now, as we're sitting here talking, waiting for a new victim.
Yep.
When I worked with the police department in the Isle of, it's up in Virginia, whatever. But when we worked with the police up there, they said they spend 40 hours a week, rebuilding their team. There was 4 of them, so 10 hours each, a week. They spend recreating profiles to chase these jerks.
Wow.
Because the algorithms are telling the platforms that those are fake profiles, so they get taken down. And that's not okay. We want those guys to have the fake profiles. There's a lot to it. So with Authentikid, just kind of glide into that, what I've created by looking at it from a different perspective is a way for kids to be kept safer by sending the information that the companies need, the platform owners, the Meta, the TikTok, the whatever. This child, this minor, is in this age group. When they have that information, they can then choose to allow access, deny access, limit access, or augment access. It will be available on cross platforms, so you can put it on your Xbox, you can put it on your Apple Watch, you can put it on your phone, your laptop, whatever. But your kids can log in through it. When it's a device that it's only kids is what we really want to see happen. Not shared devices, and we want to encourage parents to not share devices, especially when this launches, because when we want it to be so that that's the only way they can get on. Kids are really, we don't want to underestimate kids, but this will be better than anything that's been out there before to keep them safe, because it's what I consider a pre-issue solution. There are wonderful companies out there like Bark Technologies doing amazing things. They've been around since 2015. The only thing is that, like I said, 252,000 websites pop up every single day.
They can't monitor.
There's a new one out there called Reality, which is only live streaming. There's an avatar that hides your face. I believe you can augment your voice on there. So if they get on and say, "Hey, I'm 12 or I'm 14," but they could be a 30-year-old person in somebody's grandma's basement. You don't know, and it's very colorful and bright and very attractive to kids to get on there, especially because it gives them that false sense of anonymity and safety, because you can't see their face, because we've taught them that through digital citizenship. Keep your face off of, like when that young boy in the video takes his nude, the nude is from the neck down.
Right.
So they even include, I was really glad that the Missing and Exploited Children video included that little fact, because that's still not safe. But all of these websites are popping up, and what we need to do is get schools on board. Once these 4 options are available to companies can then say, okay, like if a kid is allowed to play a certain video game like Fortnite or Minecraft, because Minecraft, for example, is used in school, right?
Yeah.
But there's bars in Minecraft. You can build a bar.
Oh, there's strip clubs in there too.
A kid between the ages of 6 to 9 or 10 to 12, they can toggle a switch, and they can say, "Oh, you're walking into a bakery."
Yeah.
They can augment the reality. Limited access. I like to talk about how a company like Bacardi could use that. Bacardi, or any taboo company, to be honest, they could simply say, "Hey, we noticed you're under the age of 21. Here's what you can have limited access to. You can see how sugarcane is turned into rum. You can see historically how rum was used during the trades during the time when we all transported things by a ship. You can see video. They can use it for PSA purposes, how drinking underage is dangerous, and how especially around prom time, they usually put commercials out to tell kids don't drink and drive, don't drink underage, and
Right.
even Mad or SAD will co-sponsor those, but they can very easily utilize it that way. Denying access, obviously a tobacco company, a porn site, because right now they're not using IDs. They
Nope.
literally check a box. And of course, open access. I always talk about PBS for kids. Perfect. They can absolutely have all the PBS kids they want. Watch Arthur all day.
Yeah.
But that's how the Authentikid and the Authentilock will work. And they can choose to then, look at age appropriate content, which is coming up in a lot of laws and states, which is fantastic.
Wow. And this is, the important thing on this is that it does come back to putting a certain amount of trust in the parents' hands. You're right. I mean, because like you said, they can share devices that, they can have devices where it's not on there. And that's always going to be a challenge, right? So this, this isn't to eliminate parental responsibility, right? I mean, parents still have to be involved in this, and they have to be serious about protecting their kids. You know what I mean? And companies as well. I mean, we posted earlier that, with Ted Cruz, posting that the screenshot from Instagram or from Facebook. And it was like, here the algorithm is basically warning somebody that what they're about to look at might be child sexual abuse material. And then it tells you that it's wrong to look at it and all that. But then it gives you the option to proceed to look at it. And I'm like, if the algorithm thinks that that's what it is, why didn't it take it down? You know what I mean? So it's not just the companies. And like you said, as we talked yesterday, the companies do have a responsibility to ensure that kids are not falling into the wrong type of stuff. But right now, what are the companies saying? The companies are saying, hey, it's on the parents. It's on the parents. If the parents aren't watching them, it's not our fault. Right. And what's crazy is they're kind of right, because it does start at home. But knowing that it's not happening at home as it needs to, that means these companies need to step up and have some accountability in protecting kids. Right. And if they're, so it's a multifaceted approach. And I think, Authentikid is a great idea, because it does basically, it helps to protect kids, keep them safe. And it also, doesn't allow them to go these places where they're not supposed to go. And we talked about yesterday how, like, eventually kids have to start, we can't hide them from it their whole life. Right. I mean, they're going to have to start.
We can't. And we have to remember too, right, Chris, that we, as parents, we can't be around them 24/7. We put them on a bus, or we drop them off at school. There's a good amount of time that they're away from us. Some schools have the data locker system where they have to lock up their phones. That's a big debate, because we have school shooters.
Yeah.
So how do our kids, how does somebody get out to 911 and, all that stuff? But kids are so smart, just taking away the school shooter situations. If they've got a phone and it's on the bus with them, they can delete apps on the way home and upload them on the way to school. And
delete the browser history.
Everything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. They know what they're doing.
They
and
do.
that's where we need something else that's going to detect that. We're a big fan of Bark, and also Guardian's another one where it actually shows you a deleted browser history. What I mean? And it's like technology.
We have to remember, again, we have to teach our kids, responsibility, accountability, and we have to teach them how that plays into being independent. We all at a young age said, I can't wait to be an adult. Look, I don't know about you, but you couldn't pay me to do this over again. Okay. This adult stuff is for the birds, is what my mother would say.
Right.
But, when you have a child, your heart leaves your chest for several hours every day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop when they turn 18 or graduate college. My eldest turns 30 this year. So, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what's out there. And
So,
Lyric even has another story about reality of what happened. If you've got time to hear it.
yeah, we got to end the show at 10:30, so we got a few minutes. But go ahead with that.
Well, we can always come back next week if you've got time.
Right. But we got a few minutes if she wants to talk about that.
Yeah, it's kind of short.
Lyric, go ahead.
All right, so my friend, well, I was on a live stream once. She saw, like, the whole avatar and stuff, so she wanted to download it. She downloaded it. She did her first live stream, and there was this guy.
How old was she? Let's talk about that too. Okay.
There was this guy with the username Roberto, and he was saying all this stuff.
Inappropriate stuff?
Yes.
Was it sexual stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I asked his age, he said he was 19. My friend is under 18, obviously, and she's 9.
9.
Wow.
This, I want to say all kinds of words. Yeah, these apps are crazy, and the book will be out on Amazon. Digital diaries, stories of young internet explorers shortly, within the next couple of weeks. And it details our year-long experiment of Lyric being online, and giving more freedom than I, as a in my regular parenting, am more comfortable with. But because Lyric is so smart and trustworthy and independent, if anything like this happens, I'm the first one. Mom, come here.
She is.
And we report, we block, we walk through all the steps. And I'm really proud of her. And she's taught her friends how to do it too. And I think that's really encouraging, as far as, educating our kids to the point where they're educating their friends. We can spread the information that way.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be scary. Yeah. We don't have to put fear into our kids to make it happen. We can do it positively, and show them that we love them, that they're important, that they have a voice, that they count and they matter, and that, like, when I said the other night, and when she said, I'm uncomfortable with you looking at me while I'm telling the story, I look away. We have conversations that are back to back. We're not looking at each other, so that we can both get out what we need to get out without seeing any visual judgment. Or for me, I don't want her to see my reaction of, oh my gosh, are you serious? Or, that I had fear. That's what I always feel like when I talk to her that way. But I'm so grateful for this opportunity to talk to you guys. And Chris, anytime you want us, we'll be here.
No, that's awesome. We actually have people asking where the book will be available. Once it's released, let us know.
We'll post it. We'll definitely send a link to you, Chris, as well as it'll be on the Authentikid Facebook page.
Yep. Yeah, we'll definitely get it out there, and we encourage people to check out authentikid.com as well. In fact, let me bring up the website here real quick. It's not a lot on the website, but it's powerful. It just kind of gives a summary of what their goals are, what they're doing, right? And so
our website pretty much talks about what our background is more than anything. I have two amazing co-founders, Vlad and Devin, with whom I could not be doing any of this. Like I said to you when I introduced myself, Chris, I'm a mom of 6 and a grandmother of 8. And if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be doing any of this, I'd have told you were crazy. I knew when I started doing this, I knew where my on button was. Lyric, you said you wanted to say one more thing.
Oh yeah. I have some quotes.
Maybe another time, because we're really close to the end of the show. But I do want to thank Lyric's friends who actually logged in on their and to watch tonight.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that
sure.
just warms our hearts, because that's the goal. And most of us that have gotten into this kind of work is because we have had events in our lives, and we've been able to recover from those things, and we want kids to be happy, right? I mean, every kid wants to be happy. They want to be able to pursue their dreams. They want to be able to pursue their hobbies, and not have to be subject to these evil predators that are out there. And as long as they're educated and they know what's out there, and they know that if they make a mistake, they can come to somebody and say, hey, I know you told me 100 times, but I don't know what I was thinking, but I did this. It's not like, okay, you're in trouble now. What did you do? I told you. No, it's not about that. It's like, okay, what do we have to do to fix this? And then we'll talk about it later. Right.
Right. I mean, it's important for kids to feel like the safest place that they can go for help is their parents.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And a lot of kids won't, because, and I'll take issue with you on something really quick that you said yesterday, just in a funny way, but we'll close out the show here in a couple of minutes. But we're in I was in a print and copy place, Staples, I think it was, or FedEx Kinko's or something one time, getting some flyers printed up for an event that we had. And this customer was standing there, and he saw the flyer, and he went, "Oh, you're protecting kids from predators." And I said, "Yeah, that's what we do." And he goes, "Man, I told my kid, if anybody ever touches them, I'll break that person's neck." Da, 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 da. And I looked at the guy, and I was like horrified. And the guy was like, "What?" And I said, "Do you realize that can backfire?
Yeah.
If your child thinks that you're going to go hurt the person that hurt them, and then you're going to go to jail, now they're afraid to tell you because they're afraid to lose you." Right. And so it's like, we can say that as a way to express how angry and upset we would be. But the reassurance is, look, don't worry. If something happens to you, I'm not going to go break somebody's neck and go to jail, because then you're going to lose me too. But we're going to make sure the person gets arrested. We're going to make sure that you're safe. We're going to make sure that they're taken,
And we didn't even make that promise, Chris, because in Lyric's situation, they told us they didn't have enough to get him.
Right. Well, and you stepped up, though, and she stepped
Yes.
up to make sure that she was safe again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's what you do at that point, because then the moment that person crosses the line, and listen, I'm not saying self-defense isn't legit. Of course it is, right? But, there was a child that I'm thinking of specifically. He was about 14 or so, and his dad, and our show is not against LGBT. Like, that's not even our, we want to protect all kids. But he had told us that his father was such a staunch anti-LGBT that he couldn't stand gay people, this and that. And if any guy ever touched his kid, he would go over there in the middle of the night and he would cut his organs out, And this kid actually was groomed and abused by a man. And he was afraid to tell his dad because he knew his dad legit would go and kill the person. And then he's like, then I've lost my dad.
Yeah,
So
because kids think all the way through that. They think about the fact that if I tell my dad's going to go to prison because he murdered somebody.
Right. And now the child's been abused and they've lost their parent. You know what I mean? So there has to be some balance there of like, I know I've said I would do this, but what we'll really do is make sure you're safe. We're going to make sure the person gets arrested. We're going to make sure they go to prison and they're never going to touch you again. Okay, well, that's
We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that happens.
Exactly.
And that's the beautiful thing about getting the Authentikid in through the schools and getting this onto the devices, because when a predator, if they reach out to a kid with an Authentikid, initially the platform knows that that's a minor.
Yeah.
So, that needs to be handled with kid gloves. And Chris and I are working on I hope Chris is going to work with me on a side project where we're going to be working on something that's actually going to alert the platforms to predators trying to get on once they've left prison or jail.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Like a predator tag. Yeah. Yeah, that's something we can discuss in a later show, but that's definitely, see, this is the kind of thinking that we need to close it out here, but that's what we need. We need people like you, Lisa. We need people like Lyric. Honestly, we need people that are saying, what can we do to change things? Because the status quo is not working. Right. And of course, we're a firm believer in education and awareness, because that's a big part of it, and families being together. And but at the same time, we need people on that technology side of it that's holding them accountable as well. I think Authentikid does that, you know what I mean? And along with other organizations, continue to put pressure on politicians. Ultimately in the end, they want votes, so maybe they will actually do something.
Right.
But keep
it's both sides of the writes the laws, and then corporations hire lawyers to make Swiss cheese out of them because that helps their bottom line. So that's why the Authentikid and the Authentilock are tied directly into their compliance with the law and how much money they make.
Wow, it's incredible. That's when they're going to pay attention, because the bottom line is what they really care about. So. And people can visit Authentikid.com and check out. There's a YouTube video there and some background. They can also find you on Facebook, right? They can find Authentikid on Facebook as well, or is it Authentikid or Authentikid?
It's Authentikid on Facebook, and we have a community called Leap with Tech Savvy Kids, where we promote leading, empowering, and protecting kids. And
That's
everyone is welcome to join.
Awesome. And they can find that group as well on Facebook. Post the links, if you would post the links, and we'll definitely share that and get that out to people.
I'll at least share it to you, Chris. Not a problem. You can share it anytime.
And when the book's available, reach out and let us know, and
Absolutely.
we'll get you back on for that. But thank you for the time, and it's just incredible what you're doing. I thank you so much for being not being a victim, right? But
absolutely
being a thriver.
Absolutely.
And
it's
Lyric,
important
thank you
to
so
teach
much.
kids the differences between because when something bad happens, yes, you were a victim, but it's important to address it in the past because that's where it needs to stay.
Yeah.
We then move in, with therapy and conversation into survivorship. And then from survivorship, we move into thrivership. And the only way we can do all three of those is by becoming a solutionist, not just one of those negative people who goes out and talks about problems and blaming everybody else. Become an active, involved part of a solution.
Yeah, no, absolutely correct. That's how change is made.
That's right.
And Lyric, thank you for sharing. That's super brave of you. And the fact that some of your friends were on that's just so fantastic. And we just want all of you guys to be safe and live the dreams that, if you're a believer or not, but that we believe that God has for you, and it's good stuff. There's good plans for you. And, if you get educated and you stay smart and do what you're doing, you're going to reach those goals and you'll be able to be successful and happy. And that's the goal, right? That's the plan. So, all right, Lisa, thank you for being with us. And we'll definitely keep in touch on everything with the book and the progress of Authentikid, and we'll have you back on. Definitely.
Thanks again, Chris.
All right. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
You too. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Appreciate everybody staying on. It was a little bit long tonight, and but we're happy that you're still here. We got some YouTubers that are hanging in there, some Twitter followers that are hanging in there, a couple on Facebook, Rumble, and we're very appreciative of you guys staying on this late. And just want to remind you, protectyourchildren.org. Protectyourchildren.org is the website. You can donate to help us out and further the work that we're doing with a tax-deductible donation. You can subscribe to our newsletter. Subscribe to our newsletter. We will not share your email and we will not spam you, but you will get a newsletter once a month with education, awareness, updates, what's going on in the organization, and how to keep your kids safe. So you can do that by clicking subscribe at protectyourchildren.org. That's going to be it for this week. We appreciate everybody for hanging in there. And Lord willing, we'll be back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Tell your friends. Please share the podcast. Like, subscribe, share, tweet, retweet, all that good stuff so that more kids can be protected. Until next week, this is Chris with Protect Your Children Incorporated. ProtectFromPredators.org and ProtectYourChildren.org is the websites. Until next week, stay safe, stay nosy, and keep protecting. Thank you.